Jim Kevin. Um,
GMGM, good to see you.
yeah, you're not in Miami?
Not yet. I will be there soon.
I was a bit surprised.
I'm, yeah, I'll be there on Monday, I think. I haven't even booked my flight. I need to book it.
Oh, really? Like you are taking your flight every time at the last minute?
Um, Kind of, usually. It depends. Like I was supposed to go to Prague, but then yeah, something happened. I basically couldn't go. So just decided to yeah, just like figure it out last minute and yeah, so
Okay, okay.
sometimes I do that.
Got it, got it. All right. So just let me send a message. Um, I saw that for Sunday around like 400 people sign up.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
I'm excited
Because
for this one. It should be really good.
it's going to be a boot camp, so it's it's more engaging than just session, usually. So,
Amazing, yeah.
um, tac, tac. Ah, Sonia, Jen, Sonia. Um, tuk, 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 tuk. Ok. Alors, le lien, le lien. Tuk, tuk, tuk. Ok. Just pin. Um, yeah, maybe I should every time send as well calendar invitation or things like this because it's not um like I mean when you sign up on Luma, sometimes you forget that like maybe you forgot to import into calendar or this thing. So yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I know how that is. It's like everyone wants to use Luma, but there's no native. Like it would be
Mm.
smart of them to like add some kind of native thing there, you know? Then like you could like host your stuff through Luma, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Maybe they could use Spritz, you know?
I put a blast or this thing. So let's see. I think we'll be
Yeah,
around
we can
15.
hang back and wait a little while too. It's no worries.
Yeah, like we will be around 15, I guess, so 20. Hi, Brian. Nice. Um, okay. Um, Maybe before starting, uh, I have a question. Like, did you sign up for the Dutch Pack hackathon? Is going to be very big. And and
Yeah.
finally, we were not expecting that, to be honest, itself.
How many people have signed up for the hackathon?
Let me tell you right now. So tuk, 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 tuk. Application. Oh, l'application. Try to guess.
Oh, 500,000?
More.
2,000? 3,000?
Almost 3,000, yes. Two
Oh,
thousand
wow.
eight hundred. Yeah.
Wow. That
Uh,
is amazing. People are eager, you know, I love that. Are eager
um,
to build, you know, even though
yeah.
it's a bear market, you know, everyone's everyone's eager. No one cares. These are the people that count. So, you
So
know,
actually, we're accepted for the moment, like around 2,000. But in application, yes, we. Like pending only, I still have to check that. But yeah,
Nice.
who, yeah. So let's see. And there is also like community referral, etc. So it's helpful. Let's see. Yes, almost 1,000 has been referred by community. So that's why.
Very
And then
cool.
we have
Are
the
there bounties as well?
yeah, yeah, we have bounties. Let me just I will sign with my other's account with the other view.
Yeah.
The member view itself. Oh shit. Like, okay, fine. Okay, okay. So in prices, so actually we have that, but on top of it, there is a Colosseum. So, I mean, they can use their project to submit for Colosseum as well here. And so yeah, it's more educational approach first, like people who are starting typically. So yeah, we are doing that. We have some ledgers, Solana Mobile. We also have 12 phones extra. So it's more like Prax itself, and then we have Solana. We put 10K. So yeah, I mean, some teams has been already created, so
Hmm.
it's cool.
Very
Um,
cool.
and yeah, you are there. Wait,
I
oops,
love it.
it's charging. Oh, thanks. You are there.
Nice. There I am. Woohoo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so yeah,
Excited,
almost 400.
excited for that.
All right. So maybe I can provide a bit of context about this station first. Um, so basically, actually, um, Vizero is hosting kinda like yeah a global hackathon, but it's really just you have to use Vizero and a couple of features that can be yes creating an agent using a specific tools or whatever. And so if you want, you can participate into it. We also have credits that I will send to you. I can send to you right now, by the way. Let me just share on the chat. Uh, up, tag, in bam, boom. So that's you can just sign in and then got your credit itself. And by the way, for the DevTools Global Hackathon as well, we will have credits, but after you submit like because we were a lot. um and yeah, just the thing is it's end in 2 days, so it's already started on 24. And in this context we asked couple um of of yes meetup, let's say building events builder events, sorry, in Bolivia, in Peru, Argentina, Kenya. So basically a couple of people already started to take part into it. You can submit your project here, etc. And so actually Kevin and Brian, both today will showcase basically how to Scaffold-Agent. So you will be using one claw on your side, right?
Yep. And Scaffold-Agent as well. Yep.
Okay, okay. And so also Brian will make an introduction at the end around like MCP, or to supercharge your app using that basically. So your agent using that. So yeah, I mean, chill session. Feel free to ask any question, especially because we are just all together. So it's more like a friendly session. And yeah. So if you want to start, maybe if you can just before starting explaining what will be the flow, what you will like the 4, 5 points you will introduce on your side, Kevin.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want me to start now? We're ready to rock?
Yeah, yeah, we can start. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it makes probably the most sense for me to kind of go through like really quickly like the slide deck, and then we'll actually so this the deck that I have kind of like tells the story of like why secrets are important. So I'm going to be talking about yeah like secret management. How do you like manage access for an agent to like an API key or a private key, more even more importantly. And then also like if you let's say you want to give an agent access to that private key to be able to use it, but you actually don't want him to actually ever have to see that key, right? Like, how do you actually allow him to do signing in a trusted execution environment? So we're going to talk about that as well, which is Shroud. And then we're going to talk about Scaffold-Agent, which is a starter kit that I built that is kind of modeled after Scaffold-ETH. So anyone who's used Scaffold-ETH, it's a lot of the same primitives and it's the same kind of flow. The difference is that it's aimed completely at AI agents and like building AI agents only. It's got like a chat interface and all that stuff. It actually uses Vercel AI SDK. And then lastly, I guess we could try to build one really quick and then like try to ship that to Vercel. And we'll also try to use OneClaw because OneClaw is going to do all that secrets management for us. And we'll store the private keys and the stuff we care about inside of OneClaw. So we don't have to worry about, those being exposed in like environment variables and all that good stuff. Which is, I think, it's like the next leg of like AI agents. So,
I,
yeah, let me.
I remember
Mhm.
at is global. There's a couple of people who were using one claw, by the way. You were
Yeah,
not
I know. It's
sponsoring, but
amazing.
people were using your tech. Yeah, that's cool.
I know. I love it. Like there were like two or three people that hacked on it, and I'm really grateful for that. And then also, there's another guy that messaged me today from Open Zeppelin, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to use it one claw on the ETH Prog," and I'm like, "That's so cool! Like it's so good to see people using it." So it wasn't for a waste to build it. So all right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. And let me go ahead and minimize this so I can't see my face. Okay. So I'm going to run through this really quickly because I think the meat and potatoes today is going to be like actually like trying to build something. But I want to talk about the problem and at least kind of go through what OneClaw is. So these might be kind of fast, but hopefully you get the gist of what we're talking about today. So OneClaw is basically solving like three different problems, and it's actually three different products in a way. It's a platform, but it's three different individual things. It's storing your secrets in a way that's protected in the vault. It's making sure that your LLM traffic is not like leaking those secrets or getting a code injection or some kind of malicious code, trying to do something that is kind of like out of scope of what it should do. And then the very last is like if you want to execute a transaction on Ethereum, like how do you get it in a way where the agent can use the key, but he never even has to see the key, right? So these are like guardrails and like things that can happen inside of that trusted execution environment. So again, API keys, pasting them in chat is bad. Don't paste your API key in chat. Don't give your AI editor access to the env file. It should not have that. These are the env file is there for a reason. It's to kind of keep these secret, and secret means between you and your agent, and that's it. So we provide basically HSM backed secrets. So what that means is it's a hardware security module. So it's actual physical hardware that is running inside of the cloud, inside of Google Cloud. We also support multi-party computation where we can split up that key as well. So it can be split up between Google Cloud, AWS, and Azure. And so that way a hacker would need to like hack into each individual cloud, and they would need to hack into two clouds at the same time in order to get your key. We also support a third method, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which allows you to actually hold a part of your key as well. So it's very flexible and very secure. And the way it works is like something like this, where you can, instead of just giving your agent the environment variable, you can just say, hey, fetch that key at runtime using a token, right? So we do these kind of short-lived JSON web tokens where the secret is kind of accessed using the token and then the token expires, right? And so those are like fully configurable. And so that's done by making an API request, getting back a JSON web token, and then using that token to get the key. And this all happens inside of the process, the memory process. And so again, in this case, the agent actually never even sees the key. And then you get like audit control and all that stuff as well. So we have an SDK, it's TypeScript, and we also have Go SDK, but the API is fully open API spec. And so what that means is you can point your AI at that API spec, and it can build any SDK like really quickly now because of AI. Thank you for AI. And so again, we also have this problem where maybe an LLM sucks up a secret from like an ENV file and or something like that. And we want to make sure that those secrets don't get leaked into the LLM. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, we have a trusted execution environment, which is also hardware that is running inside of Google Cloud on an AMD SEV SNP machine. It's an actual server. And the only way to talk into that is using encryption keys and using the policy enforcement for the API. So the only way to do it is to authenticate, get a JSON web token, send that into the TEE. And what we do is we pass all of the LLM traffic through that. And what that does is all of this stuff. It's a lot of magic, but it's checking to make sure there's no potential malware that's trying to get injected, any potential secrets that might get redacted, and before they actually make their way to the LLM provider. And it's a proxy. So what that means is you can bring any LLM you want. So if you use Gemini or OpenAPI or whatever LLM you want to use, you can just proxy through that. We also support token billing through Shroud too. So if you don't want to have to deal with managing your Gemini key and your OpenAPI key, you can also route the traffic directly through the Shroud, and Shroud handles all of the billing. So if you prefer, you just have one kind of single pane where you can do all your billing inside of one claw. And so again, what we want to do is like we're building on-chain AI agents, right? And so we want to give these AI agents access to use a particular key, but we don't want to maybe let them ever see the key. So how do we do that? A lot of people are doing something like this, where you're like sucking in a private key from the environment variable, but that private key is, as we know, it's a raw access to signing for that address. And so what we can instead do is we can do intents inside of the trusted execution environment. So what an agent just needs to do is authenticate, get back his JSON web token, and then put in exactly what he intends to do the transaction for. And then this can be processed inside of the TEE. So you can do things like choose a network, you can also set like caps of limits and stuff like that, or whitelist addresses. There's a lot of flexibility. And then this is what the agent does, is he just sends in the signature request, right? And this actually signing happens inside the TEE, again, which is completely segmented away from anything, all hardware, and it actually executes the transaction on behalf of the user. We also support if you want to bring the signatured payload back to the agent and use another RPC. Like if you're very, worried and you want to use your own RPC, then you can do that as well. And we also do transaction simulation inside of Tenderly. So we make sure that that traffic or that transaction, is going to pass and be, useful. Otherwise, it will kind of give you an error, and which kind of helps save on gas if if like a large transaction or something. And we support up to 109 chains. Pretty much all the chains that Tenderly supports, we support inside of the Shroud.
It's
Just to
all,
go touch real quick.
uh,
Yeah.
is it all EVM chain or?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Currently, it's all EVM chains. We are going to be adding other chains, though. That's kind of like the next kind of thing. We're going to be making it so, and I'll show it in a sec. But like when you create an agent in one claw, we create a signing key, an ECDHE key, and a messaging key, and it's kind of like your decentralized identity, right? We're going to soon actually give you the option of spinning up keys for all major blockchains and then store those in the HSM. So they're never exposed to public. They're in the hardware locked away. And then we will be expanding the chains to other chains here inside the TEE as well. Good question. And then the last thing is like, if you're very paranoid, which, I wouldn't say paranoid is the right word. If you're very security conscious, you're going to like want to maybe have a custody of part of the key, right? So maybe you want to like hold half of the key. Well, we support that with a 2 of 2 key split. So what that means is you can store half of the key inside of the HSM module, and your agent can hold the other half, or you can hold the other half as a user. and then figure out how you want to deal with that second part of the key. But then we also support this very like last one, which is like if you're building production agents and you want to use that multi-party computation that we provide to split across the clouds, but you also want to have a fourth kind of signing key, we split the key up into those four parts and we let you custody that fourth part as well. So you would need two from the cloud and one from you to comprise that. So that way you know that you're kind of like still storing part of the key in a way that's secure, and someone would need to hack two cloud providers and hack your agent itself. So very, very flexible when it comes to security. Any questions here? Or good? Okay, cool. So I already talked about the SDK. We'll kind of skip that. We have a CLI. Agents love CLIs, but this is more for if you're using like OpenClaw or if you're just doing something from like a DevOps perspective. Anything you can do in the API, you can also do from the CLI, which is very useful. We have an MCP server. So if you prefer to use an MCP, it's kind of like a wrapper around the API, and it allows your agent to talk over MCP. We have one that's deployed and available for you to use, or it's open source MIT license, and it has a bunch of tools in there for you to use, and you can run it yourself. So it's very flexible, and you can kind of decide how you want to use it. We won't show off the MCP today, but it's there if you need it. We have a bunch of examples. I'm going to show one here in a second, and then we'll talk about those. But there's different examples for different things. Like maybe you want to use it with like a chat, or you want to use it with a certain framework like LangChain or Crew AI. We have a bunch of examples that go through how to use it with that particular kit. We'll be showing off the Scaffold-Agent, which I'll get to in a sec. We can skip that slide. Okay, this is what I want to talk about next. And this is the meat and potatoes of probably you guys as developers that want to use OneClaw, and then you want to get all that cool stuff that we just talked about, but you also want to build something super quick. So again, this is just like Scaffold ETH, very similar. We actually use the burner wallet from Scaffold ETH, and soon we will also use all of the components and hooks that Scaffold ETH has. We just haven't added those yet, but it has everything you need out of the box to build an AI agent that's hooked to OneClaw in a secure way, and also allows you to, it uses Vercel AI SDK and stuff like that. So we can show that off here in a second, and we'll kind of skip that. Okay, cool. So let's minimize that. And first, let me just kind of walk through basically what OneClaw is. So let's
You have a
sign out so I
question?
can just oh yeah, sure. Let's see. What is it here? We got how do we handle validation and guardrails before signing it? It happens inside the TE or via some abstracted layer. So the validation and the guardrails are all configured with a human API. Okay, so that's a good question, Sonia. So the idea is that maybe you want to provision, and I'm going to show this in my little demo. You might want to provision an agent's key, and you might want to provision his vault and what access he has, right? And where you store the vault and give him like access to the key. That can all be done programmatically with the human API key. So there's a human concept of an API key. Then the agent gets his own API key, right? And so the vault, which is handling all of this kind of orchestration stuff, again, it can be done manually, which I'm going to show here in a sec, or it can be done programmatically with the AI or with the API. And then you just give your agent his key, and then that's it. And then he knows exactly what he can access based on the rules that you've set. Good question. So I'm going to go to OneClaw. So if you go to oneclaw.xyz and you come up here where it says sign in, and then you can sign in with Google, or you can create an account here. I'm just going to use Google. And I want to just show the flow real quick. And it's basically when you first get in here, you'll notice that you won't have anything, like this will all be blank. And there's two things you really need to do. You need to create a vault with a secret, and you need to create an agent. So you can do that here. You can say, well, set up a vault, name it what you want. We'll just call it example. And you can choose what kind of custody you want. Now, I'm going to give everybody on the call a pro account. I'll get that to Celine later, and you guys can use that for 3 months that you can use. Right now, we're just going to use standard HSM, but when you have the pro account, you'll be able to do a 202 if you want. and we'll choose the path. So let's just say we do a password and we do example like this. So we use path-based policies. So if you want to give an access to all the passwords, you would do password slash star. And so in this case, I want to store a password and I can put whatever I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't use that as your password. And we can store it. So we've just stored a password in the vault, but we don't have an agent. So then we can register an agent and we can call it example agent and we can say what it is if we want and register it. And then we get back an agent ID and an API key. All you really need is this API key that you'll later on plug into your agent. Okay. And then once you save the key, just say I've saved the key. And then you select the vault that you want to give that agent access to. So we created an example vault and we go ahead and click grant read. And there we go. And then we've created a policy, an agent, and a vault. And that's kind of like a wizard that just helps you create one. Again, this can all be done programmatically. And then we give you these kind of examples to test them. Like this is how you would do it with the SDK. This is how you would do curl. And then you can view the agent and you can do more fine grain access control. I always have a hard time saying that. Fine grain access control. Like let's say you want this agent to only execute transactions from private keys inside of the TEE, you would check that. Now this agent is restricted from seeing all private keys. He can only authenticate and use that private key based on the policy of the key. We generate an identity. So here, remember I talked to you about we generate a signing key and an ECDH key, which is good for like encrypted communications between agents that you want to like make sure that the traffic is not sniffed. Maybe they're sending sensitive information, or you want to maybe you want them to do an attestation inside of their code. We have a signing key that they can prove that they're that agent, right? And they do that by authenticating, getting back the private key, signing a message, and then they could send that to another agent to prove that's who they are. So this controls the kind of, and this is more high level. You don't really need to know this stuff, but I'm just kind of explaining it here. Smart accounts is not fully integrated yet, but we're adding that soon. Every agent will have a smart account on that you can deploy on different tests, different networks. And we can also like adjust the TTL. So maybe we want to adjust the TTL to, I don't know, 100 seconds or maybe even less. Let's just do 10 seconds. And we can hit save. And that will restrict him from that agent, him or her, from accessing the vault within 10 seconds of his JSON web token being issued. So you can shorten this down as long as you want, whatever you feel comfortable with as a developer. And then here is where we can enable the shroud stuff. Okay. And again, this can all be configured with the API. Your AI can do it for you, and we'll show how easy it is. And this is things like all the protections we talked about. You can come in here and you can edit and turn off and on different things. So I'm not going to go into these too much. You can kind of toy around and look at these, but you can know that you can kind of adjust how much security level you have on that shroud. Okay. And that's pretty much it. There's some other stuff here. This is where you would grant access to another vault. Like if you had more than one vault, maybe you want to give him read, write, delete, share, and rotate access on one specific vault. You could do that through here. Let's say you only want him to access passwords like this with a star. That would give him only access to the passwords and not anything that was maybe like API keys, right? So you get this very like fine grain access control using these policies. So we'll kind of glaze over that a little bit. But now we have an agent, we have a vault. That's kind of the workflow in there. But now I want to show how easy it is to spin up an AI agent with OneClaw. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Scaffold agent.xyz. Okay. So this is the tool that I built that is, again, very much similar to Scaffold-Eth. And we're going to show how easy it is for us to spin up an agent using this command. So we're going to grab that command here, and we're going to open up a terminal, new one. And let's make this big so you guys can see, and paste this in. Okay. Now, it's going to want to install the newest version, just like Scaffold-Eth. Same thing. Say yes. And it's going to ask you what you want to name your agent. So we'll do dev3 pack agent. And it's going to ask us if we want to use OneClaw. Now, you don't have to. You could use a basic ENV that's encrypted on your local disk. If you do this, it's going to ask you for a password. You could also just say none, which would be a regular ENV file, not recommended for production. But this one is what's recommended, obviously. We're talking about OneClaw. So now it's going to ask us for our OneClaw API key. Now, this is the human API key, and we're going to use the human key. So we're going to come back over to OneClaw, and we're going to go to API keys here, and we're going to create one. Okay, and we're going to call it dev3pack and hit create key. Now, what this is going to do is going to give us back an API key right here. Let's copy it and save the key. Okay, and it's going to say, do you want to add your one API key? Yes, we do. And then we're going to paste it in, hit enter. Now it wants us to encrypt this password because we have a habit in developers. I'm sure everyone on this call probably doesn't know this, but you usually just create an ENV and whatever, but we should encrypt those. So we're going to put in a password for it. So let's put password. Don't use password in the future, but I'm just going to do it for a demo. And then it asks us if we want to generate an identity. Now, the wording is probably going to change on this, but this is a private key. Or do we want to generate a private key? This is actually wrong. It should say private key. We're going to say yes, because what we're going to do is generate a private key and we're going to store it in OneClaw automatically. Okay. And then it's going to ask us if we want to use ampersand. If you're doing X402 payments, ampersand is a way to control spending over X402. Then I would recommend it. We won't use that, so I'll go ahead and choose no. And then it's going to ask us which LLM provider we want to use. So because OneClaw provides LLM inference, like you don't need to go and sign up for Gemini or OpenAPI or whatever, you can just choose OneClaw. And you can then choose what model you want to use. You can use any of the models that we support. And so we support all of these, but I like Gemini. I'll use Gemini. And it's going to ask us if we want to use the token billing. So again, OneClaw, you can put in your credit card and do all of your billing through there. So if you do that, you would choose this. If you don't, just provide your own API key, and that will ask you for your Google Gemini API key. But we're going to use OneClaw. Then it's going to ask us if we want to have a smart contract. Like, do we want to write a smart contract maybe for our app as well? And if so, what chain do we want to use? So we'll use Foundry. And then it asks us if we want to use Next.js, Vite, or Python. So we support all of those. Next.js is recommended. It's the most commonly, and because we're using Vercel with it, it's probably recommended as well. And so now it generated a wallet for the agent, and it also generated a wallet for the deployer account. So agent and the deployer account. And we never even saw those private keys. Those private keys are locked away in the HSM, and we can't see them. They're basically locked away. And so now it's created, it also got the vault ID that it created, and it got the agent ID right here. And it's basically installing all the dependencies. So very similar to Scaffold-Agent, it needs to install the packages that are needed for the front end, the Rainbow Kit, React, Vercel AI SDK, all this stuff that we're going to use in the app. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to split the screen up, because if you've ever watched any of my videos about Scaffold-Agent, it's the same thing. We need to go into that folder where we created it, so dev3pack agent, in a couple different windows. And that's because in this case, we're going to have a smart contract, we're going to have our front end, and then we're going to need another terminal to do all our deployments. So we'll spin up our front end in one window, we'll spin up our Foundry in another window, and then we'll deploy our contract and do whatever we need inside this last window. Okay, so let's go over here and see what came on the screen. What you'll see is you'll get all this nice output that says, oh, cool, this is exactly how you need to orchestrate your thing. And it will basically give us these QR codes. So now we have these QR codes that we could use to fund our accounts. So the deployer account is a local private key that's stored encrypted it's not stored encrypted, it's stored in the HSM. So the private key that's going to deploy your smart contract isn't even on your machine. It's in OneClaw. The agent key also is not on your machine. It's in OneClaw. If you put your API key in for your LLM, it's also stored on OneClaw. So the idea is that you're storing all of your secrets on OneClaw, and then you're just giving runtime access to read those secrets to your agent. Okay. So what we get back is all the commands that we need to do. We need to run the chain. We need to fund our account, deploy the smart contract, start the front end, ship it to Vercel if we want. And if we need to deploy another, create another wallet, we can as well. So let's do the first one, just chain. Oh, just chain, right? Oh, I got to go into the dev3pack folder. Just chain. So we're using just. Some of you guys have probably seen my other workshops with Scaffold-Agent. You do Yarn. We're not using Yarn, and that's because we're using like we have Python and all this other stuff. So we're just using just, which is similar to Yarn, but it's more of like it's more like Make actually, if anyone knows Make. And so now we have the chain running. Now we can fund the contract. We can fund the smart accounts, or sorry, the private keys that we created with just fund. And that will send some testnet ETH from our Foundry chain to those two accounts so they have some funds. And then over here, we'll do just start. And it wants the password. This is the password that for the encrypted, because we need at least one private key that needs to be stored locally. And so we want to keep it encrypted. We just need to type that password in to unlock it. And so now that is all stored in memory inside there and no one can get access to it. And then the very last thing is to deploy that contract. So just deploy, again, it wants the password. And we just deployed a contract. It comes with a contract. So let's take a look at the repo real quick. But our front end should be running. So we can see here that it's running on port 3000. So we could actually test it out now and see. Let's do that first, okay? Let's open up a new tab here. And I see some questions. So yes, you can use the free Gemini API key if you want. You could just don't choose one claw billing. Just choose bring your own API key and just paste in your API key. Okay, so that's it. We have an agent, and now we can, fingers crossed, let's hope it works. I just did a push today on the thing, so let's make sure it works. Let me move this thing out of the way. I don't know what that was, this little note taker thing. Okay, here we go. Let's say like, hey, what is 1 plus 1? Fingers crossed that it works. But we didn't need an LLM. No API key vault extra API key. Okay, great. Now we have a problem. Well, let's look and see what the problem is. Let's give this to the LLM real quick and see if it fixes it. I should have LLM token billing enabled, so it should be fine. Okay, while we're doing that, while we're waiting for this, so let's look at the repo, okay? So we have a packages folder, just like Scaffold-Agent. We have the chain, and inside there we have the wallet. So this is kind of like a smart account wallet example, but this can be changed to whatever you want. So this is where you would write a smart contract. Like if you were building some kind of DeFi application or an NFT application, and you want to like offer that inside of your chat app, you would kind of build this out and then it's deployed and available. And then there's also a test written for it as well. So if you need to do a test, and we come over here to the Next.js folder, and this is where we have our app, right? Now you'll see that there's a bunch of different paths for the app, and those are all up here. So let's look through those real quick. So the first thing is we have a faucet. So we just sent 10 ETH from the wallet to our faucet, just like Scaffold-Agent, very similar. We also have the agent wallet here. So here it's checking the balances for the agent wallet and for the wallet for the connected account. And then you'll notice up here, we could disconnect here and reconnect with our MetaMask or Rainbow or whatever we want, but we get this burner wallet. Same thing as Scaffold-Agent, we have a burner wallet. And that burner wallet is useful because it you don't have to worry about connecting your wallet or nonces or anything like that. We're actually using Scaffold-Agent's burner wallet. We also have this other tab here, which does kind of guides you on how to do ENS registration for your agent. It gives you the address and it tells you exactly how to register an ETH address. In the future, we're going to have subdomains here. So you'll actually automatically get a subname, but we haven't added that yet. That's another upcoming feature. The info tab is like similar to the so this is for the I think ERC 8004. Let's wait for it to load here. There we go. So we have like the registry. So let's say you changed the chain to base and you wanted to use base, you can register it on ERC 8004 directly from here, which is really nice. And then the wallet that's connected can be the owner of that identity. And then this is actually a new tab. I don't know what this is. There's someone else helping me with this project. So, oh, this is for the memory stuff. Yeah, this is more for like agent swarms. We're going to be adding this functionality where maybe you want to have like 100 agents, right? And you want to be able to manage like access to things from that agent. You would have all your swarms listed here. But right now we only have one agent. And then this very last tab is similar to the debug contracts tab, is it tells you what is coming back from the ABI for your smart contract. So this is the agent, the name of the contract, the address variable that's coming back, the functions that are available. They're not interactive yet. Once we add the scaffold-ETH kind of stuff, then it will be available there as well. But let's see if it works. Did it fix it? Let's see. Da, 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 da. It wants me to, even with, yeah, that's funny because I have token billing enabled. Let me just double check. So just so you guys know for the token billing, and I know I'm like running over right now, but if we come here to billing, we should have token billing enabled, do we? We don't. Let me enable that real quick and try it again. So basically I want to just do my billing through here so there's no issues. Okay, now it worked. Let me sign in. Is it enabled? Yes, okay, it's active. Let's try again. Let me restart the server real quick. And it should work. Let's see. And then I'll be done. So we'll come back to the app here and we'll refresh. It's compiling. And I think I saw another question. Where does the agent actually hold funds? So it's, yeah, it just depends on where you send the funds. So we support 109 EVM chains. So you can send value to any chain. Currently, I think we only support like in Scaffold-Agent, we only support probably all the major chains. And we are using, I think the default RPC is like configured to DRPC. There's a way you can change that though inside of the config. And I think it's inside of, let's see here. I don't remember where it is. This is the next config, network definitions. So we kind of have this, yeah, these are the ones we support: mainnet, base, Sepole, Polygon, BNB, and localhost. But you could add whatever you want in here. So you could switch it to any chain and then you can put the funds on there and then your agent would have access to that. Okay, let's try this one more time. What is 1 + 1? This should come back, fingers crossed. There it goes. 1 + 1 is 2. So you can see how easy it was to kind of set up an AI agent inside of one claw, inside of things. The last thing would be maybe we want to ship this. We could do just ship. And what it's going to do is ask us for if we're logged in. Um, there's some kind of interesting weird thing with the. I just added this feature because Celine asked me to do the ship, so I might have to fix this. But I think it's because we name the Vercel config automatically with the dashes. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe if we do this, let's try it one more time. There it goes. So I'll fix that. That's a bug. But now it'll be called Dev3Pack Agent, and it's deploying. So deployed our app. The only thing is that I think I need to also add for it to have that environment variable uploaded as well. So there'll be a command that I'll add. It'll be something like just upload env or something like that. So that what it'll do is it'll take your password in and upload that one key that you need to store in Vercel. And so I'll add that soon. But this was like a last minute feature, but it is deploying to Vercel at this point. Okay, I'll stop there.
Very complete. I mean,
I was trying to hurry because I know someone else wanted to talk. So
yeah, maybe more understanding if finally we have to use directly one claw interface or not. Like, I mean, we can use directly Scaffold agents, which is including directly one chloride.
Yeah, you don't have to use scaffold agents, right? You could just use like, again, we have the SDK, we have the CLI, we have the MCP server. So there's a lot of different ways. Scaffold agent is just like a really easy way for like if you're just building a basic chat application
Mm.
and then you want to kind of modify it from like a very, very, starting point. That's the main benefit. Like just like you would use scaffold ETH to like bootstrap an Ethereum application, it's
Yeah.
kind of the same concept.
So did you ship couple of like specific app, like agent, I mean, itself? Like if you have any kind of example, because it's always like you don't know what to do, what to build.
Yeah, yeah. I think for ideas, I really like this idea of like creating an agent that is gonna maybe like make money because now like we're getting to the point now where we have like the bazaar from Coinbase and we have like ERC 8004 scan and we have X402 scan. And so trying to figure out an agent that's actually productive and that you can kind of put out there, but is very simple. Like I saw one the other day where like someone is like doing LinkedIn leads. Like you can just be like, oh, I want to get a LinkedIn lead about this particular topic. And then it goes out and tries to find leads. So, like stuff like that, like agents that make money, agents that provide a service, not just like a wrapper, like a chat wrapper, because we already have Claude Code and Claude and GPT, but like building something that's a little more useful. Yeah, other than that, multi-agent stuff I think is really interesting. Like a lot of people are building like these orchestrators, like we have like OpenClaw and Hermes and all that stuff. I think a lot of that can be done in a web interface, and it would be a lot cooler to kind of see that stuff and have your agents hooked up to external services. So building more like AI focused kind of UIs that where people can manage tens, hundreds of agents is quite interesting as well. And OneClaw is perfect for that because everything can be orchestrated. You could have like literally have like 100 vaults, 100 agents like in a heartbeat, really easy to do. Whereas before you'd have to like manage this huge env file, right?
Got it, got it. I'm saying that because like on Monday, yes, I will lead a session like more product session, product ideation one. And so right now, as we have two type of like people like I mean, builder will build an application for people, and then builder will build an agent for agenting economy itself, and so we have to rethink everything about that. Um, which angle you want to take at the beginning of the hackathon, like you don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking of things. Mm. Yes,
I'll send
like
you some more ideas.
we need more ideas on the agent side. I mean, because the scope is very large. So how to apply agents into serving something that maybe human need to. Like I don't know. I just need to think more about that. All right. So thanks a lot for the demo. So actually, yes, it's useful. Like especially if you are building around is global or these things from now. So as I mentioned, when I was at is global can, I talked with a few people, and then they were building using one claw basically, while Kevin was not sponsor. So it was funny. And question again around chain. So when are you expecting like to go more into other chains, like maybe Solana or these things?
Soon, very soon. There's definitely an appetite for it, especially for Solana. And like everyone's talking about Solana as like a parallel to the X402 community. So probably in the next like month or so, I'll have like something. I kind of have it all scoped out. It's so easy to add it. It's just a matter of like finding the time to do it. So probably after I get back from Miami, I'll start working on it.
Okay, good to know then. All right, all right, all right. Someone has any question? Like, please don't hesitate. Um, all
Yeah,
right.
and if anyone, what I was going to say real quick too, sorry, one last thing. If anyone wants the pro plan for free, just go on to OneClaw, sign up, and then when you go to the billing section, you can enter code ETH Global 26, and that will give you 3 months free. I'll just reuse that code.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot for
Yeah.
helping the community. Really appreciate it. Um, all right. So yeah, I sent also a code on the chat, which is related to Vercel, so you can get $30 free, like to use V0 itself. So don't hesitate to use it. And yes, I will showcase again. Tac tac tac. Let me just share, and we have a presentation with Brian just right after I'm talking. So here you can claim your V0 credits, and then it's where you can ship an AI agent or whatever using, I mean, that depends if you want to ship an agent or if you want to ship something else during, like, using their tools. For example, I just saw that they are hosting something with 11 Labs, so maybe I don't know if I will add something related to that into the DevChack hackathon itself. But what you can do is just like pick up a website. It's what they say. They said, I will not invent anything. Pick up a website and like just reinvent how to design this one using like adding more features such as like text to speech, such as video or this kind of things, voice guided tour, music, conversational navigation, etc. So it's like something cool if you like design itself. So maybe I think I will add it into the hackathon for people who are more into uh, design, not thinking directly about agent or these things. So if you want to take a look at it, you can also again maximize your zero credits and get access to the 11 Labs creator plan. So actually, we have the same perks exactly for the DevToolPak Hackathon. So just to let you know, I'm sending you that. It's ending in 5 days, but I mean, do it for fun first. All right. Um, any question from now, or we will switch to Brian. Brian, are you there? Yes, you are there.
Yep, I'm here.
Thanks again, Kevin, for the presentation. Really appreciate it. Oh, he's not here anymore. Kevin? No. All right. Um, so feel free to share your screen, like talk about the scope, etc. I think it is going to be interesting for everyone. You already made this presentation for DevChack Peru in the Zero to Agent event.
Okay, can you see me?
As usual, yeah,
See
yeah, yeah. All good, all good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, let's start with the the pitch. Well, first of all, thanks for your time. And we're going to have an introduction with the MCPs. Okay, well, it's my first. This is my first pitch in English, so sorry in advance if there are some parts that my pitch is not so fluent.
No,
Okay.
that's totally fine. Like you know who I
Okay.
learn I learned English. It was doing that. Like um I was preparing myself to do a presentation like on stage, etc. Why I was not speaking English at all. Very nuts. Um so no, like I really encourage you to go out of your comfort zone, and everyone will be super proud of you. So no worries, take confidence, and even like you know that you have an expertise, you have things to, like, people have to learn things from you, And so no worries about that. Like we will understand you. That's fine.
Okay, thanks. Well, let's just start. Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about an introduction of the problem that the MCP solves, right? Like a hackathon process. Let's talk about the problem. Uh, the LLM, it's ingenious in the box, right? And it's only trained by the certain knowledge of their time that of the training. Sorry. Okay, the LLM by itself cannot do things. No? There are no hands that allows the LLM to do, like, for example, create new spreadsheets in Google Drive, okay, or create a new database in Notion. They have no, they don't have hands, right? So there's a concept which is called a tool. Okay, a tool is of course a hand that allows to the LLM and to do things, and it's called an agent. Okay, well, but there's a problem with the tool. For example, let's have a case of okay, and you have an agent built up with AI SDK, okay, and create a tool, okay, develop a tool that integrates to Microsoft Office or okay, so access to your Words, Microsoft Word documents. Okay, it's okay, you can do that. But what happened? There's one problem. The first is that if, for example, you need to create all the APIs, okay, documentation from this for the API of Microsoft. And what happened if Microsoft, I don't know, today says, okay, I wanna change this endpoint. Your tool, well, cannot work very good because it's not the integration is not the same, have not the same endpoint, right? So you need to go to the documentation, see the new endpoint, and change manually, right? But it's okay. It's okay. You can do that. But there is other problem. What happen if you have other agent AI? For example, you build the other agent with lang change, okay? But you want to integrate your tool there. What happened? Lang change have made other methods to integrate that tool. So you need to see the documentation, know, and then learn how to integrate it. Okay, and that's it. But in that case, you have two problems, right? The endpoints and the integration from other agents. It's as good in this case. But what happens if you have four agents different built with different technologies? Okay, I don't know, AE SDK, line change, and others. And what happens if you have not one integration instead of five? Notion, Drive, Google Drive, Microsoft Word, and others. There will be a problem, right? So you need to take care of all the information of the AI documentation of the AI agents and the other integrations. No? For example, one integration from Notion from your SDK agent, other integration from your LangChain AI LangChain agent. Okay, and that's it, right? It's not efficient. Okay, that's what MCP was great. The MCP is like take these tools, all the tools, but these tools it's built from the companies, and it's like all these tools is like an USB, right? You just like a plugin. You have the USB and you connect to your computer. It's the same. The USB will be the MCP and your computer will be the agent. So it's no matter if you have 3 or 4 or 5 agents. The MCP is a standard connection. It's an USB. You can connect without any changes. Okay, and also, okay, what happened of Notion or Microsoft? No problem, because all these endpoints will be changed with the company. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so look, in conclusion, okay, and this concept is like an MCP is an USB that have a lot of tools that you just need to connect to your agent. You don't have to worry about the maintainability of the endpoints, how to integrate, because it's the same in any agent. Okay, so okay, well, that's it. This is the universal adapter of the artificial intelligence. As you can see. Okay, but let's talk about some concepts. Which is the first is the MCP host. It's you. Well, it's like business code, open code. I like open code, for example. Open code, cloud code, Kimi code. I don't know. Okay. Then is the MCP client. Is the client is like, okay, you say you have a request. No? Okay, let me build something. Okay. Okay. I mean, build a notification system or whatever. Okay, but with Supabase, okay? And the MC client will say, okay, gotcha. They receive your request and see, okay, this is your request, but there are some triggers, right? For example, this trigger, and this client says, okay, there's a trigger. Supabase, let me check if I have a tool, if there's a tool of Supabase MCP that can help me with that. Okay, that's right. They found it. The client found it, and we'll send this to the server, MCP server of Supabase. For example, Supabase allows you to manage with the agent AI with your to creation of the tables and the project and whatever. Okay, without enter manually to the website. Okay, so the server receive. Okay, they want to create a notification, and they with the tools they will Superbase will create a project with a certain table with certain values, okay, and then they're going to send the output message. The client say, okay, it's correct, okay, and then the client will say, okay, the host, like, hey, your feature is done. You can check with just run the server, run the build and check by yourself, okay. So what keep in mind is the MCP host is you, the MCP server is the waiter, and the other is the the MCP client is the waiter, and then the MCP server, well, is the server, it's the company that allows you the MCP. Okay, then this is the inventory items. First of all, is the resources. Resources is like it's the documentation, PDF, TXT files. Okay, that is documentation that the MCP have, and the MCP will review. Okay, for example, if you have an MCP of, I don't know, university, have an MCP to help you to study for the courses. Okay, for example, biology. Okay, the MCP say, okay, MCP, please, I'm gonna still give me some questions about the topic of the course, or topics of the course, and the MCP says, okay, I'm gonna search if there are some syllabus of the biology. Okay, I'm gotcha, I find it, and they will review this PDF and all the questions, and they will send you these specific questions as a questionnaire for you. Okay, this is information is specific information from the institute for the university. It's not general. Keep in mind that. Second is the tools. The tools is okay. The tools is the actions of the MCP. They allows you to have okay, of course, again, actions in your integrations. Notion, drives, MCP. For example, I want to create something. I want to create a new element in my database. Done. Okay, this is tools. Of course, and I'm sure that MCP are more. This concept is the most famous, right? Okay, then this kind of interesting, and it's the prompt. Well, I think an example will be a better way to explain this. Imagine that you have a template which is called Rose My Code. Okay, this rows my code will be like something like, okay, this when the user says, okay, review my code or something like that, use this template. And how to use it? This template will be like act, well, it's prompt engineering, prompting, act as a senior and senior engineering, but so strict, okay, and blah 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 blah. And this template will be used. The agent will use that. In what case? In the trigger of review my code. For example, review my code, calculate total items. Okay, and they say, okay. The MCP says, okay. Oh, you see, the user says, review my code. I'm gonna use my code. And it's like these template prompts will inject. We are going to inject my code this way, the function in this prompt. So the prompt will say like act as a senior engineering, blah 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 blah, and review the following code, and then there will be the code of the calculated items. This will be in the server, right? So when the MCP returns their answer, the output that you will see will be the AI talking with as a senior engineering. Okay, and so restricting like, oh man, the empty list handling is missing, or blah 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 blah. But you can see that you didn't have you in your terminal, when you apply code in your terminal in your 2i, you didn't write anything like hey, act as a software senior, no, or an strict. No. This template was injected in the MCP, right? So maybe we are going to use the last concept, and then we are going to, I'm going to tell you a real case that can use all these 4 concepts, right? The last concept will be the notifications. It's like, imagine that that the MCP, the user can talk to the server, right? But notification allows the next feature, that the server can talk to the user. What it means, for example, if you have MCP open, for example, say that the sneaker tracking agent, and maybe the company include a new tool, which is, for example, read the trends of sneakers. Okay, well, what happened? The server with this concept notification will notify to the client, the MCP client, and it's like the server will say, "Hey, client, there's a new tool for you. Please upload the list of your tools and use it." So you didn't have to upload this list manually. The server do it automatically, right? So the next time you say the tools, you will see, oh, hey user, do you have this read trends sneakers? I'm gonna use that for your prompt, no, for your request. And you say, hey, you will say, hey, these tools yesterday, these tools didn't exist. What happened? Well, it's thanks to the notifications that this new tool will be was added to your NCP, right? And this think of it like a synchronize, okay, the server and the MCP in every moment, in every second. Okay, so let's gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the scenario, which is a hackathon, right? Okay, it's a hackathon. Imagine that you are in 1-day coding competition, and the company, the organizer of the hackathon, gives you to every participant an MCP. Okay, what happened? First, the resource. This MCP, when you connect your agent to this MCP of the hackathon will contain all the rules of the hackathon. You know, what tracks, the prices, the constraints, whatever, right? So with the MCP, the agent will know, can read, and will know all the rules of the hackathon. and keeping it in mind. So for example, if that you are planning to do something about any topic, but this topic is not included in any tracks, the agent will say, "Hey, wait a minute. According to the rules of the hackathon, this topic, this idea that you want to build, it's not included." Okay. Then the prompt. This MCP of the hackathon, we have a template. For example, I want to create something, okay, I have a raw idea of it. I'm gonna say, okay, I have an idea of I don't know, I want to build Ethereum 2 or whatever, okay, and so the prompt, the MCP says, okay, trigger, I have an idea I want to build. Okay, let me use this template hackathon brainstorm. The same. Act as a, for example, the prompt will be like, act as a senior product researcher with a lot of H's in the industry and focus to the Web3 environment and blah, 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 blah. And then transform this raw idea in a structure and clean idea. And then will be your raw idea injected to the prompt, right? So when you have this, you will have an output. I mean, the server will return an output of your idea, but very clean and structured. Also, if there are some details that you didn't put in the request, they'll say, "Hey, well, they look good, but let me know. Okay, there's something that is missing in your idea. Please give me that some details. Give me some details about it to have a better idea, and then we can build a proper product, right?" And then the tools, for example, imagine that this MCP of the hackathon allows you to, okay, I have my idea of the prompt template previous. Right, we are okay. We are going to start. You just put like, hey, agent, and we're going to start to build. And when you have this, all of this is our triggers. Okay, the MCP says like, okay, start, build, project. I'm going to use the tool, the GitHub tool that allows you to create an organization with all your teammates and create a repository with the name of the tool, with the name of the product that you want to build. And then in the Slack, they're going to send a message, mention to all of your teammates, well, or Slack or Discord, that the message like, hey, this isn't the repository is created, and the URL of the repository. Okay. And the fourth concept is, imagine that, for example, the organizations in the middle of the hackathon, there's a rule that they will change. They change. Okay. What happened? When they change, with a notification concept, the feature, the server will send a message to the client and say, hey, there is a rule which was changed. Okay, please not keep in mind. And the client says, oh, okay, well, let me send a notification in your Slack or Discord about that. And you will see that the agent will send a message of something like, hey, team, please keep in mind that there's a rule that it was changed a few seconds ago, right? And the rule is blah, 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 blah. And they mention all the teammates or your Slack and or Discord, right? So you don't need to check manually. With MCP, you have the fresh information all the time, right? And well, actually, there's a lot of industries which are using this MCPs. Vercel, of course, Google Cloud, IBM Watson, and AWS, Amazon Web Services, Bedrock, right? So I think that it's all. This is a fun concept that I really encourage you to search about that documentation. But when you have these core ideas in mind, keep in mind that all the next, for example, these concepts will help you to build a better agent. For example, hackathon of for sale of the or hacker hackathon of the prepack, because it's almost the same. Yeah, it's the same concept with Web3. Just the concept of Web3. Yeah, it's the new concepts, but it's just it's MCP, right? But it's just we're on Web3. Well, it's redundancy. But keep in mind. Thank you so much. You have some questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Yeah, like I mean, I would say you are even great at storytelling. So, no, really. Like, I mean, it's a good thing that to showcase with real world example, because when it's come to tooling, it's what's missing every time. Like, okay, people are like presenting tooling, etc. But when it's come to put that into context, it's very, very hard. So congratulations for bringing both like the tools comprehension about MCP, but also like the example that is more speaking for people. And congratulations as well for your English. You also have a good accent, by the way. So perfect. If someone has a question, sorry, maybe you can send the presentation into the DevTupa group too, like in resources or something like this, would be great, because like this they all have a step, etc. And by the way, like I'm thinking of something, is that for the hackathon, wait, let me share my screen a bit. Tuk 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 tuk. For the hackathon, when you are going to resource, here, you will have something called some copilot. So basically, you can use that and get access to all past submission, like as they mentioned, pressure test your ID. Basically, you can say that you are I don't know, a project designer or something like this, specialized into this area. They will find something for you to build. So I will just send you that, but I will more talk about that on during the live coding bootcamp. Um, that can be useful for all of you. All right. So if you don't have more questions, don't hesitate to like, I mean, you can put a message on Telegram or whatever, and also you can participate into the hackathon with this credit again. I'm insisting that you should claim that. Even myself, by the way. Because, for example, for the hackathon platform, um, like I was like I didn't know I wanted to do something. I was like, oh, maybe I should try to check to build like a hackathon platform. And so I was with V0, like like testing futures, what we can build. And so right now we have a really good app, um, thanks to the community too. So no, I'm glad we can make things happen. All right. So if you don't have more question, um, let's wrap up the session and say see you, see you uh on Sunday. Yes, see you on Sunday. Because on Sunday we will start the vibe coding bootcamp. So with the first session will be more for beginner, like mastering Cloud Code, and how to interact with GitHub, especially as a team. So yeah, project ideation after all these things. Anyway, so see you on Sunday, and thank you, Brian, for your presentation. Congratulations again. Bye bye. Just take care.